This is Marlborough Road Cemetery. We're in the town of Ilfracombe on the north coast of Devon. The cemetery was first opened in 1926, so we're just coming up to 100 years since it was first used for burials. There are some 19 World War II war graves in this cemetery, which is a lot for a small rural area like Ilfracombe. This one just mentions a sailor of the Second World War from the Merchant Navy, buried in December 1940. One from the Polish forces, aged 27. He died in 1941. W.H.J. Menhinnitt, Ordinary Seaman, Royal Navy. H.M. Motor Launch 530, 1944, aged 21. I'm not going to be able to show you all 19 of the war graves, but we'll probably pick up one or two more as I walk through the graveyard. There's a family memorial here to another man who gave his life in World War II, Edward James Jeffreys, solicitor and clerk to the Ilfracombe Urban District Council, flying officer RAF, killed in the service of his country, aged 31 in 1943. And just behind that is another one, a family tomb. It's got a bit of a tilt to the left. In treasured memories of George R. Sampson, RAF, who died in his country's service 1944, aged 33 years. And then father of the above, who died in 1960, and his mother, who followed in 68. Wonderfully ornate memorial next to the path, with the angel holding a wreath in one hand. She's got one foot showing at the bottom and she's standing on a cloud. And the inscription is to Harriet, the beloved wife of Frank A. Nill, passed away in 1920, looks like 29. And this one has some flowers. I guess they're lilies, brought out in relief on the cross. The inscription at the bottom is rather dark, needs a good clean, but it looks like Frederick A. Painter. But rather nicely done, simple but also very intricate. A good sized slab of the red stone, marble type stone, in memory of James Vickery, 1939, aged 92. This one's done with a metal plaque mounted on the stone. It's unusual, but it's held the inscription well. Esther Alice Lewis, 1949, aged 75. Charles Burfitt Lewis, 1949. This doesn't say he was a victim of World War II, but the dates are right. Our dear son, Sub-Lieutenant Ernest Alfred Reeves of the Royal Naval Reserve, 1944, aged 23. And then his father followed 9 years later, aged 63. I'm suspecting this is a child's grave with a very little angel on top, mourning on a stone. The inscription, however, not easy to read, but very nicely done. Well, the grass has been cut in the graveyard. It's pretty well looked after. I don't see very many stones falling over. And Ilfracombe is not a rich area, not a very populous area. So that's a pretty good job on behalf of the local council. This cemetery is high on the hill above the town, and I'll just show you some of these panoramic views. This is the edge of the town, not the main part of the town, but a very beautiful part of the country. The hills and the coast here are some of the very best you'll find in the UK. This one is in grateful and loving memories of my dear uncle, Edwin W. Jolliffe, late of the Civil Service, India Office in Somerset House, that was in London in the Strand, who passed away 1950 in his 85th year. This one in black slate and very clear and easy to read. Thomas Williams, 1950, aged 71, and his wife Eva in 1958. This is on the corner of two paths. Nice stone Celtic style cross. And the name on the bottom is my dear husband Edwin J. Dos Santos, 1931, and then May L. Dos Santos, 1956. Tucked away in a quiet corner is the children's area. A peaceful little area, although you can maybe hear some road noises in the distance. I'll just pick two at random and show you. This one's to Luke Kyle Pearson, and he was just 3 months old. Lukey, our little man. And this is in loving memory of Annabel May Wharton. She was stillborn in 2007. So small, so sweet, so soon. At peace with Jack. And this is the area where the very latest or newest of the graves are. You can see the cemeteries just going right the way down the hillside there. Much larger than you think when you come in the entrance. A nice example of a modern stone with two-tone lettering and clearly still looked after with the fresh flowers at the base. Clifford James Blackmore, 1978, and Doris Blackmore, 2006. And here's an unusual one. Diethelm Stobe, M. Sergeant, US Air Force, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, 1925 to 1978. And here's something quite different and quite distinctive. The name on it is Claire Louise Anne McVeigh. The dates are actually hidden beneath the flowers at the base. We could inspect them, but I'll leave it undisturbed. Very nicely done stone. This cemetery is full of surprises. The further you go in, the more you find. There's another section here as I've moved deeper into the cemetery, yet you would never guess as you pass by on the road outside. This is also very different. It's got the shamrock and the colours of the Irish flag, Roland Patrick Towie, and we've got some feathers and some flowers. And we've got Jacqueline Ann Towie. This too is quite different. I'm not sure it really works because it's very difficult to make out the inscription. It's a very thick piece of glass with the name Ian Charles Burfitt, 2012, age 34 on it. This one has the image of a motorcycle at the top. Stuart Norman Vincent, 2010, age 62, forever remembered for his smile. Almost lost in the grass here is a very small stone with the name Lawrence Grubb and a very rusty model of a racing car. I'm really surprised it survived so well. It's always good when they tell you a little bit about the person. This one to Roy Stanley Slocum, husband, father, craftsman and gardener. And then Janice May Slocum, loving wife, mother, friend and local volunteer. And on the side of this part of the hill we have a garden of remembrance for those who were cremated or buried elsewhere. And one in the front row, picked at random, is for Margaret Buick Shelverton and Ronald Herbert Shelverton. This one with the electric guitar engraved in the top of the stone, Stephen Paul Bankler Jukes, known as SBJ. Beloved husband and father, a remarkable man who lived life to the full, and his wanted epitaph was, "It seemed like a good idea at the time." Here's one to another motorcyclist. There's a picture of his Suzuki motorcycle on the stone. This is Robin John Rumson, known as Rumbo, tragically taken from us aged 38. So one wonders if that was something to do with a motorcycle. So let me finish then with another of the war graves in the Ilfracombe Cemetery. This one is Aircraftsman, 2nd Class, R.W. Buckland, Royal Air Force, 1941, just 18 years old. Well, I'm going to leave this one here. I've been really pleasantly surprised by this cemetery. I didn't expect too much in a small town like Ilfracombe, and yet it's quite an extensive cemetery. A lot of nice stones and well cared for. All the grass has been cut. Well done, Ilfracombe. If you're in the area, it's well worth a trip to the top of the hill to see this cemetery. So, till the next time.